Welcome guys to my YouTube channel. It's your boy Kazaik 3D from northern part of Uganda, and today I'm gonna show you how to create the 3D model you're seeing right now on your screen. I've been asked by a lot of friends, and they asked me to show them exactly how I come up with ideas and how I create my 3D logos and other stuffs. So consider subscribing if you're still new to this channel, because I still have a lot of content. So I told you're new to Blender and you haven't used Blender, you are totally still new, you have been using 3ds Max, Maya and C4D. So I would recommend you to watch the beginner guide on how to use Blender, because if you just go to YouTube and search from there, you get a lot of videos there and show you, because I won't make this video too long to show you how to use Blender, navigate, and or maybe let me show you a little, cause so if you have to see, my interface has been changed, because previously we had the one which the sidebar was on this side, and I changed mine because I'm having a small monitor which I never wanted to mess up my end panel with the properties. How should I the sidebar, because this is the add-ons, where the add-ons are installed, and the end menu. For those who have been using Blender, if I talk of the end menu, you will know. But you'll be seeing the shortcuts I'll be pressing, and others I will be saying them myself. So if you're navigating, if it is your first time to open Blender, in Blender you can change the interface how you want, because here from here you can change shader, text, which is the best thing I've ever seen with Blender, because no other 3D application that does that. And here we have your settings, and okay, to navigate in Blender, if you want to navigate, you press your middle mouse. To pan, you press shift and then middle mouse. To zoom, you just the scroll wheel. But I thought you're using a laptop, you don't have a mouse. I'll show you how you navigate. So if you come over to the left top, to edit, preferences, the navigation, I will recommend ticking this orbit around. I'll show you why is it and what exactly it does, but it is off by default. And input, make sure you tick this one, because if you don't, then the thing that I'm going to show will not be able to work. So if you're not having a mouse and you have a laptop, you use that the left button, and so what you will do is you press Alt, left click, then spin. Then if you want to pan, Alt, Shift, then left click to move. So you press Ctrl Alt, left click, that one will also zoom. That's how you pan around within Blender. So I recommend buying a mouse, because it makes things easier and a lot. So most of my 3D logos I use AddOps and Boxcutter, but in this tutorial I'm gonna show you this how I created this logo without utilizing other add-ons like AddOps. I used AddOps for creating this, but I'll try to show how to create it, because I know others will ask, I don't have AddOps, so won't I watch it? So show how to cut all these booleans, utilify them without using an add-on. But in my next video, where we'll be covering how to create this complex logo, this one I will recommend AddOps, because it speeds up. If you're not having AddOps, you either buy AddOps or Fluent, because those are the best add-ons for add surface modeling here in Blender. So without further ado, let's get started with a new Blender scene here open. So what I did to come out with that actual idea, and what I like about Blender is, if you navigate at the bottom here, you will see these keys changing here. You see this key changing, because if I press Alt and navigate, you will see there Alt, press Alt to snap. So if you press Alt, it snaps to wherever, is it the top, right, left, how you call it. So in Blender, if you want to add any geometry, it is Shift A, the shortcut. And let me first talk of the shortcuts, because if you are used to C4D and 3ds Max, Maya, all those, you used to press WESD, those shortcuts, but in Blender it's different, because if you want to scale, it is G for grabbing, S scale, R rotate, so it is different. So if you come over to edit preferences, the key map, if you change this to industrial compatible keys, then we will having all those keys you've been using in the WESD. I think those are the shortcuts, but if you'll be using Blender for long, then I recommend turning it back to the original shortcuts of Blender itself. So let me show you exactly how I created the logo. So instead of, there's one way how you can cut. Here, if you want to rotate, you press the basic way. If you want to rotate, press R and define the axis where you want to rotate. So this time I want to rotate only the Y axis. So you cannot rotate in other axis because you've locked that rotation to only be rotated on Y. So if I press 90, see, it is rotated 90 degree on the Y axis. So what I did here, instead of because there's a way how I create, I create only one side, then mirror other stuff. So this is another way of creating the back panel of the logo I created, because from here you can use, you press Control Shift plus B to bevel only the edges, then you can scroll wheel to add segments, then after that you dive over to the modifiers, then mirror modifier, then any axis, because if you want to mirror it on the Y, that is it for X, Z, all those stuff. So you can mirror wherever you want to mirror from, but this time I want to mirror it on the Y axis this time. So if you press Y, you will see what we've done has gone, but don't worry, press this second Y and then you will see what has happened. So if you want to flit, you can flit them off and on, flit. So this is the first way on how I create. So from here you can dive to the edit mode. If you want to go to edit mode, you just press tab, or you over the drop down, then edit mode, but that one takes a lot of time, so simply press tab. So you can either go to tab, then E to exclude, then you have a thick edge. Or what I normally do is I come over to the modifier and then solidify where is solidify modifier, then even thickness, and add the thickness how you want. And remember, in Blender, if it is easy to unify this the modifiers how you want, because in the real world there's nothing sharp. So what we have to do here is to add the bevel modifier, and here to add the segments, since that. Okay, cool. But from here you can even increase the size just how you want, the size here, the bevel and the segments, then you will have cool round shape. But now I created that because I wanted it to form like a circular shape on top here. So what I did exactly is, let me show you. I brought in a circle. So since I've snapped my view to the X, if I expand this menu and then here from change it from wall to view, it rotates itself, and then from nothing to end gone to fill up all those for you. Then what I did, and then dive to edit mode, selected only the bottom part. You see, scale that down to bring that shape. So that is the back part of it. So from here you can scale to the X, and in Blender if you scale you can lock the axis. You want to scale to the X, Z, Y, see, all those stuffs. So let me say I scale it a little bit, the Y. So then, as I told you, the solidify modifier, because that's my favorite. Solidify modifier, and solidify according to your needs. Then after add the bevel modifier, because nothing really sharp. other segments, and what a little bit of above. I think 0.02 will be enough. So this is our back part, the first part. So I thought I'm moving so fast and you're not understanding. You tell me in the comment section, and because since you know English is not my native language, and try to figure out. And okay, let's proceed. So this is the first part, the behind part of the logo I have shown you earlier. So what we'll do again is to cut the top, or maybe first what we have to do is to add the second layer. So if I press shift S, the cursor menu will pop up, then cursor to selected. You move the cursor from the origin then to the selected object. So shift A to add a plane, this time RY90. Then let's bring it in front a little bit, so that we should have a gap on where we pressed our D, because the D is behind, I think somewhere there. And then scale to Z, like I think like that would be enough. Let me check it from the front view. The scale the Y like this, then Z, let's turn it down. Then Control A to apply the scale, because if you don't apply the scale, if you dive over to edit mode and try to add bevel, something weird will happen. So Control Shift B to add the brown edges, just like that. Then, as I told you, I love using solidify modifier instead of excluding. So this is not solidify. Even then from here you can add a thickness according to our need, something like 1. Then so instead of adding the bevel again, the solidified bevel, since this one is having all those two modifiers, the bevel, then the solidify, so you can transfer these booleans right over to this one. But first, what you have to do is to jump over to the preferences, to edit preferences, then add on, simply type copy, and ensure that you copy all this, you tick all these, I mean, because if you don't tick them, you're not gonna be able to copy the modifiers and animations. So if you press this one and then shift press this the other one, because this will make this one active, then Control C, copy, this menu will pop up, then copy modifiers, so you'll have this exact modifiers to this one. So we have our bevel and solidify. So what we need again is to cut the hole inside, but the easiest way to cut a hole is dive over the edit mode and press Shift for face mode, because there's this, the shortcuts are 1, 2, 3, there is face, edge, then vertex. So we need a face. Simply press I to insert, then move to your liking. I think maybe somewhere there will be nice for me. Then we have to do is to delete this, the inside face. So press X, then delete face. So we have only the rim. That's what we wanted, isn't it? Oh, I'm kidding. So this is the inner part, of course. So what next do we want? So what we again want is to press the little cage inside. Is it the hexagonic shape, or I don't know how you call it. So what you have to do is, instead of, let me show you something. Instead of bringing in a circle, then sizes 8. Okay, let me move it aside so that we are able to see. Or let me hide it. So if you want to hide something in Blender, you select the one you don't want. Hiding is H, but if you press Shift H, you hide others except the selected. So RY90. So instead of, let me bring in a new circle just to see exactly what I was trying to tell you. Shift A, circle. So here is view, since already we have already snapped. So here you can roll the numbers to bring interesting shape she wants. So 6 is I think. So instead of creating things like this, then insert, delete face, then start adding array, copying those. It takes a lot of time. So what you have to do is simply come over to edit preferences. There's another add-on I want you to enable. Extra object. Is it? Oh, sorry. Extra. So ensure you tick this extra mesh and extra object, extra mesh, then curve. Because let me show you exactly what does what exactly. So if you press Shift A, check on the mesh. There's a lot of. But I told you, you don't tick this. Let me turn them off for a second and Shift A. You see we have limited. Is it the mesh, circle, thing? It is like the stuffs are limited here. But if you go over to the preferences and enable all this, you can even save preferences. Shift A, and then there's a lot being added. So if you dive over to, is it the extra, is it the diamond, is diamond, others you can check them by yourself. So what we want only, this is the extra, and then honeycomb. So honeycomb, from here we can change it to view, then you can roll the numbers as you want. So if you like 100 by 100, you get a very large. So here is it the cell size, exactly how you want. So we have here very large. So Alt A to hide to unhide everything. So you see that we have a very large honeycomb. So I should call it. So you press S to scale it. Ensure you scale it down to your needs as you like it to be, because others like them being large, others like them being small. So instead of this, what we will need is, we just need only a small portion of it, not these others. So instead of going to edit mode, vertex, deleting them one by one, we should just use a boolean. And that boolean, since, let me first hide this for a second, since we only need it only inside this ring, as I should call it, alright. So what we have to do is to go over to the edit mode, then to the edge selection and select this inner edge, then Shift D to duplicate it, then press right mouse to make it back to the center, and press P, then separate selection. So if we separate, what have we separated? This is. So if I hide this, then we see we have only that, the ring. We no longer need the modifiers. By this time we'll dive over to the edit mode, select all by pressing A, then EX to exclude them along the X axis. Then after that, ensure you press F to fill, because it won't work if you don't do that. So after we are done with filling this, we will have a full, how will you call it? Is it a cube? So this is it. We're gonna use this one as a cutter to cut this. So if you select this to the modifiers, booleans, and select that, the object. So if we see, if I select this and then press Shift to unhide and try to hide this, you see the boolean is there, but not exactly what we want. It has cut, but cut away what we want instead of what we don't want. So what we will do is select this one to the booleans, and then instead of difference, just insert, and this is what we wanted. So let me create here the boolean. Is it boolean collection? Then let me put it red. So select this and move it. Moving in Blender is M. Move to the movement will come in boolean. So ensure this is not visible to the render, to the camera, and then even to the viewport. We've just used it to add our boolean. So since it is a flat thing, we need it being thick a little bit, so which is easy also, because we just add a solidify modifier, even thickness, then roll it to your need. I think something like that will be fine. Then here we go. Our second shape has been created already. So what other part we will need? We will need that the ring, it is like the lock. It's like a lock. Let me move to the side view, then press A, add in a plane. This time don't rotate it, just simply lift it up and scale it to the X to make it a little bit small. Left the edit mode, Ctrl Z to wireframe A to vertex selection, then take it something down like this, I think, and then rotate it. Let's go over to the top view, and in Blender at all, if you want to switch over to the views, you can press this the keyboard which is next to it, below escape, and there is top view. Then just let us put it in position. Just need it a little bit, not too large. So we simply need it not too wide, like this. Press Shift A, apply, then lift it up. And guys, we haven't saved yet, because if anything goes wrong, since we have unstable power, we'll lose everything. Okay, so let's save first. Ctrl S for saving. I'll save mine to desktop. I'll call it tutorial, then save. So what we have to do with this is to add thickness, but I will still recommend using the solidify modifiers, because you'll be having a lot to change, even thickness. But like a cube, you will know why this button is there with this thing if I bend it. So let's add the thickness. I think something like 0.2 will be enough. Let me check it on the side view. I think we should use 0.4. Yeah. Then after that, add our bevel, because it is important, nothing really sharp. And the best thing of Blender is you keep working while adding the modifiers, which helps a lot, because you will see. Okay, let's use 0.05. So it's time for us to know why this button even thickness is there. So if we dive over to edit mode, then wireframe, E for the edge selection, and select this one and this one, press E to exclude, but limit it to the Z only, then exclude downwards. So after all this, if we press Shift H to hide others except the selected, and check this to the side view, and let me untick even thickness. If you try to see what has happened, this is exactly what happened if you don't tick this. So I told you know exactly what happens if you don't, but it is kind of sharp and we need them a little bit round. So if I dive at the edit mode, select the inner edge. This time you press only Ctrl B, not Ctrl Shift, because Ctrl Shift is for vertex beveling. So if you move your mouse, then roll your wheel to add segments. So this one like 2, then I think we should go with something like this. It will be enough. If I unhide all other stuff, then this one we will go to the selection and select everything and move them closer, and then move this one as well. And the good thing with modifier is if you want to add more signatures, you can according to your needs. So it is only, since we need 4 of this, we will mirror them to other side. So if modifiers, if you have a modifier, then the mirror modifier. And the best thing with Blender is mirror object. We have this eye drop, it is the selection mode, so you can select the object to be the center of what exactly you want to mirror. Because if it is not selected at all, you will see here it is telling us that it is mirroring it to the X, but nothing we are seeing yet. It is being mirrored this end. So if we select this one it shows the distance of the selection, the distance. I think you understand me. Then if we decide again to make it go the other side according to your need, so we already have 4 of them, but we don't want them being through like this. We need it also being rounded, or maybe we can select this edge and then move it up a little bit like this. So let's update our saving. So we already have this, the first and the second of our logo. So this is it. So what else do we need again? So we need but I think this one I should maybe add it to the X to make it a little bit wide and move it inside. Let's Ctrl A to apply the scale. Then we need another one here. So with this one, Ctrl Shift A and add in a plane again as we are moving, and this time we will just select this one. Select and then Shift select this one, copy modifiers, because I need the modifiers except for this one I don't need this mirror, I only need one mirror, and SS to scale it. I need something in the middle, and that's the size is it's good. And this time I need something thicker than it is. I think we'll go with like 10 will be enough. Then SX, scale it something like this. So I apply the scale, and I need to cut this. So cutting things in Blender, we will over to the modifiers and Boolean, but we need a target. So what we use is Shift A, add in a cube, G to grab it, S to scale. We need something like this. And apply the scale, so the booleans, then this. After select this one, press M and move it, the boolean. And there's one thing, if you notice that where it has been cut, it's not having that bevel at all. Why? Let me show you why is it. Is if you come over to the modifiers tab and check how the booleans are aligned, you see that the boolean is below our bevel, but what we need is shift them like this. That will fix the problem already. So this is it. So if I simply press Shift H to hide this, and okay, but let me add a mirror modifier to mirror it to the X like this. So if I unhide the booleans, because I only want this one, if I hide it, I want to adjust the boolean to be like it is large. It is large on top here, but I also want to see the effect happening. So what we will do is select the cube. It is the object properties, the viewport display. Simply this display as change it from texture to wire. So we still have our boolean but visible, so we can do anything we want with it. So from here I can download the edit mode and scale to the Y. I will be also seeing the effect, how it is moving. Then press Alt H to unhide everything and move this up, because I want it to sit exactly at the bottom to be like this, and it's sitting there. Then SH to like this will be perfect. So after all that, so we kind of need the edges. Is it the flat edge here? So what we'll do is to press Shift D to duplicate, then press the right mouse button to snap it back in position, and Shift H to hide others. Then what we do is to apply all these booleans except the bevel. So apply this one, apply the boolean, and apply the mirror as well. So if you dive to edit mode, we simply need to select only this edge here, pan around and select the bottom ones as well. So we can only select even only one, and we mirror. So press P, select by selection, and simply delete this one because we no longer need it. We only need this one. Solidify modifier. This time I will solidify it outwards, not in the best. Then reposition the bevel. Then Alt H to hide others. We have this nice looking edge, whatever you want to call it. And after we mirror this to the other side, so mirror to the other side, so we have 4 nice looking, how you want to call it. So what we'll do here again is to select this one and Shift S, Shift to move cursor to selected, and Shift A, plane RY 90, move it sideways, SY S, then move it SY, move it inside a little bit, then move it in a bit. But I also need that bevel, so I will Control C, copy modifier, then simply just delete others. Simply delete others, and the bevel is too much, so I will reduce the bevel size, something like this. So this is it, but let's add this thickness. I should move it this way, and let's add a thickness. So let's have the edit mode, select only these out edges, and Control Shift, because if you press Control B, nothing will happen. So for the vertex to be beveled, you have to press Control Shift B. And this is what I want to tell you. You're seeing that we are beveling, but nothing happening as we expected. This is just because if you have to check all the properties, the scale is not applied yet. So how do we apply that scale? Control A, then apply the scale, everything to go back to 1 1. So from there, if you dive again and Control Shift B, then everything works as expected by itself. We only need 1. This is it. And then mirror it to the other side. Select this one, then mirror it. So with Art Ops, it is easy to mirror or beautify or to use all the stuff, but I'm kind of creating this for those who do not have Art Ops, so they can also benefit. So select this, tap to the edit mode, 2 for edge selection, E to exclude along the Z axis, exclude a tiny bit, and select this inner one, Control B to bevel, and if you are to check, should select everything and push it towards the X like that. Tab, Shift Z, and select, tap to edit mode, 2 for edge selection, Shift D to duplicate, right click to snap it back into position, P, separate by selection, out, select only the edge, tap to edit mode, add, select everything, E, Z, something like that will be enough. what you have to do is just to move it and line up with the previous one, something like that. Or maybe let's reduce the size, the thickness, let's just reduce it a little bit like that, and move it inside, then snap that view, scale to the Y, Ctrl A to apply the scale, tap to the edit mode, Ctrl R for the edge split, then scale to the Y, something like this will be enough. Ctrl R to add another edge loop like that. Add another edge loop right away there, and then 3 for face selection. Select this face and this face. X, delete the faces. But okay, let's solve this. Ctrl X to dissolve the edges, and 1 for vertex selection. Ctrl Shift B. We simply need a like that, and then what we will do is K for the knife tool, then cut like this. Then simply what you have to do is to go to face selection like this, then X, delete the faces, then select all this, Ctrl X to dissolve, then add the mirror modifier, mirror to the, of course, like that. Then maybe let's select this panel so that we can mirror it at the bottom as well. So here we go, tap to the edit mode, edge selection, Ctrl Shift B to bevel this one like this. But here we already have 2 vertices. Select one and Ctrl X to remove one, save that, and then anything happen, you save that. So from here what you have to do is Shift S, then Shift A to, let's add in a new plane, then RY 90, scale it down until it is the same size as that hole. Just like this. Let's move it upwards, something like that. Ctrl A, apply the scale, and let's copy the modifiers. Copy modifiers, but this time with this one, what we have to do is to simply flip the exclusion. So we have to remove this negative to make it in the positive direction. Then so from here, go to the edit mode, Shift Z to wireframe, select this and move it up a little bit, Ctrl R for edge selection like this. So what I have to do is select this first edge, then E to exclude along the Y. So move it to something like this. And then 1 vertex selection, Ctrl Shift B for the bevel, make it something like that. Shift Z. So what you have to do is duplicate that one. Shift D to duplicate. Right click to snap it back, and what you have to do is to apply the solidify and the mirror. So apply the solidify and the mirror. So with this one, what we need is the boolean and the boolean target. Let me first hide this one. Okay, the boolean target is this one, this shape right here. So this one, if I move it, you see it is not the one. This is the one we wanted to use. So let's select it and let's scale it along the x-axis like this to cut through, then move it to our boolean collection. But before that, what we need is to expand that down. So let's go over to, let's snap our view to the X and Shift Z for wireframe. Select all these bottom pieces and simply move it down. Shift Z, then M, Boolean. So after all those, what we have to do is to reposition our Boolean, then Alt N to unhide all what we have been creating. So what we have to do here is to simply move these edges to touch the bottom one. So we select all this and just move it a tiny bit. So from here, what we have to do is to bevel that edge. Press Ctrl Shift B and bevel it just like that, and you have yourself that little design there. And here we go. So for the text, what I did with the text was, let's select this one, Shift S, cursor to selection, Shift A, text. So text properties here, this one should be centered, and let's rotate 90 degrees on the X axis, then rotate on the Z also 90, and tap to go to the edit mode and simply write 3, because my name is Kazike 3D. So I've been, maybe let's center this one as well. So S to scale according to your liking, and let's change the font type to the one which I used was Arial Black, this large font. This one I used, this one, moved it up. So what I did was again to scale it to Z to make it a little bit wide, and from here geometry, exclude. So all do that all according to your needs, like recent, then move it up. Maybe let's snap my view to Y and then exclude, then move somewhere there like that, and maybe it is too big. And for the lines around the text, what I did was to Shift D to duplicate, Shift D, duplicate, right click to snap it back, and the text menu in the fill mode, simply use none. After all those, the exclude should be at 0, then the bevel at least use 1, and roll the segments according to your need, and simply move this like somewhere like that maybe, or maybe let's decrease the exclusion a little bit, because like that. Move it backwards and then move this, and after all that, duplicate this by clicking Shift D, X to move it only on the X axis, then line up with that like that. Then later Shift D to duplicate on the X axis, then move it, and what you have to do is to decrease the let's use like 0.4, then move that till it touches that. Tap the edit mode, then simply write D because it is 3D. And then what I did with this, let me hide the rest. What I did was to duplicate Shift D. I will simply use none, exclude something like backlight to phone, and simply use 1 to add that nice. So I told you put this to 0, it will be just like a wire, but if you try to exclude that, and you have this nice looking curvy D like. And then let me press Alt N to unhide the rest. We are having 3D, and I had the little text here, so that one I will Shift D. I will duplicate that text again, Shift D, X to move it only on the X axis. Then what I will do here is I don't like the exclusion yet, so with this one it will also be none instead of both, and then I will simply need the bevel. But with the bevel you can use the profile. Look at this, you can use the profile or the round, depends. With the profile here you can adjust according to your needs how you like the bevel to be, but I'll stick with round for this time. And then what you have to do is to reset the scale, then tap to edit mode. Then okay, maybe let me first move it up a little bit and let me line my view to the X, tab, so delete that one, K, enter, A, enter, Z, enter, A, enter, I, enter, K. So if you have an easy way to do that, you will let me know in the comment section, because so since the spacing is too wide, what we'll do is, which it is like maybe, oh, this one, yep. So this is how you can reduce the spacing if the text it's like too wide. So this is it, so like this. And what will I also want is to go to the edit mode and simply grab this, move them up a little bit, simply select this and move them up as well. So with this you can maintain the shape like that, or still show all the booleans, and then simply move yours. Let me change it to wireframe also, as I told you. Then move it until it touches the other like that, then simply hide back the booleans and S to the X, S to C, and here we go. This is how I managed to create this. So what we are left with is only, I think, the panel. Let me simply show you. Select this one, shift this, select cursor to selection, bring in our plane RY90. So let's simply move it like somewhere like that. Let's go back and scale it, move it, position it to your liking, and what we will do here is to jump over the edit mode, use our knife by pressing K, the knife tool, this, and simply draw the shape you would like. I think I will use something like this. Press enter, 3 for face selection, X, delete the face. So this one for vertex selection, and maybe let me move it somewhere like this. I think it will be fine. And maybe let me scale it down a little bit and move it position. So Ctrl A, apply the scale, and I will add our favorite modifier. I think it is the solidify modifier, and adjust according to your liking. Not forget to add the bevel. It helps it a lot in lighting. In light expression, or I should say like that. So after all this, you can go to the edit mode and Ctrl Shift B and bevel that just as you wish. Or maybe let's add a little panel here by pressing Control. Or maybe let's move this inwards a bit. No, maybe let me just move this vertex like this, then down, and this, select this one and this, and G to move it. So simply do whatever you shoot your need. Maybe let me move this up maybe let me dissolve this edge and let me just use only a small portion of it. So I will select this one, press to Shift D to duplicate, right click to snap it back in position. Out of edit mode, select let me hide this one. Oh, where is it? Select. It's like maybe let me first go back and check what happened. Oh, we have to press P and separate, so we haven't separated it yet. So if you simply select only, let me hide this one, select this, A for selection, then E to exclude, it's just, then Alt N to unhide everything. Then you'll have this small panel. Maybe we can cut it like this, and then what's happening if I turn off the solidify? Okay, so let me flip the thickness by typing here minus. So if I tap to edit mode and select these two vertices, X, delete vertices, I'm left with this small design. So you can do that by this side also as well. So I will need to mirror it on the other three parts remaining. I will use a mirror modifier, select the distance. So that is the first one. So the second one, and what I will do again is to select this one, to add also the mirror modifier, to eyedrop and select the distance. So here we go, you already have that same panel on all four corners. So you can either scale it down, move it, do whatever you want to do with it. Maybe move it inwards, maybe like this, maybe like this. And if you want to see how lights travel into your 3D models or your bevel, what you have to do is to, at the right top, press the drop icon, then turn on cavity. So you see the difference, cavity on and off. Maybe you can use both, it depends on you, but it makes it shine a little bit. So if you want to add details, like recently you want to add some cuts here, or maybe let me show you, like adding a cube, scale it down, maybe like this, scale it on the Y, then the X, maybe let me, so we have to add in the Boolean modifier, select our cube, and let's change this to wireframe. After selecting this, we position the bevels. So select this, add an array modifier, an array to the Z axis, like maybe let's use 4 for now, or maybe even 5, and position it to your liking. So what's happening is we have the move that to Boolean collection. So we have already the booleans on this side, but it isn't showing this side. Why? The reason is the boolean is above the mirror modifier. It is below, it is below the mirror modifier. So you have to position the mirror modifier just like that. Boom, everything seems to work quite nicely. So let's see which other detail we would like to add. Which other detail I would like to show you. Yeah, let me see. So I think I'm done. So if you want to know how to texture it or to animate it, you let me know in the comment section. And any logo you would like to create, simply let me know in the comment section, because I've been asked by a lot of my friends. And let me tell you one thing, guys, I by myself, I'm ready to share my knowledge with someone who needs it. So thanks for watching, guys. consider subscribing to support me. And if there's any logo design you would like to know among the logos I've ever created, or even from somewhere else, you can just let me know in the comment section or WhatsApp me, and I'll ensure that I create a video or a breakdown on how I created it and make you understand. So thanks for watching. See you.